Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mangs, and I'm very happy to announce that I am once again blocking part of the map with my arm. A lot of people left comments saying it just wasn't the same without it, so I reverted it. So I hope you guys are happy now. In other unrelated news, we're going to take a look at a Rip game today. So, as you guys know, we are currently following Rip on his journey through the Smacky Cup. I've decided I'm going to cast every single game in the tournament. But then some people left comments saying that, Mangs, did you know that at the same time, Rip is actually playing in another tournament? He's playing in the Smacky Cup 2. The thing is, Smacky Cup 2 is taking so long to finish that Smacky Cup 3 has already started. So, unbeknownst to me, while I was like wondering whether Rip would get his first tournament win, he was playing in the finale of another tournament. And this match just concluded, and it was absolutely spectacular. So this is something you have to see, ladies and gentlemen. This is the finale of the Smacky Cup 2. Now, when I saw Rip's opponent, a wave of nostalgia rolled over me. Lasca Lanar. This name was familiar to me. So I looked through my old videos, and turns out I actually casted a game of his long ago on this channel. I think over 2 years ago at this point, maybe more. This is from the very first Egg Cup, Season 1 of the Egg Cup, where I casted a game where he played against Hype Master. And he lost that game, pretty convincingly actually. So it's very cool to see that a player that I casted a long time ago has risen to the point where he's facing off against the world's best Advanced Wars player in the finale of a tournament. That is quite the success story right there, so I'm very excited to cast this game. It was a very, very good one. The map that they're playing on is one of the foggiest fog map that ever fogged. It is Chosen Reservoir, an absolutely massive fog map. This map is huge. Like, just the capture phase of this map alone tends to last like 15 to 20 days. Like, there are still uncaptured properties left on this map by like day 18. It's crazy. It's a massive map, very long reinforcements paths right here. You have to go over these shoals. There are, of course, air units. Stealth fighters are a thing on Chosen. As you can see right here, they are not banned. There is a day limit of 35. So at some point this map will end. Most tournament games tend to have a day limit of 35 just to make sure they don't go on forever. Sort of exposed HQs, although you very rarely see HQ caps on Chosen. Most of the time, fighting tends to happen here or here. Like in the middle, like here, like these 2 points right here is where conflict tends to amass. There's a lab in the center, but there's not really any point in taking it. It's a tiebreaker if the time limit runs out, but it very rarely does. But usually you'll find, I find that most often like around this area is where the fighting will take place. Sometimes it does transition into sort of like a mid-fight, but that really depends on the game. Now, their choices of CO, we do have a mirror match today. We got a Jake mirror, and this doesn't really surprise me at all. I guess I don't need to show two Jakes, do I? So, seeing Jake on this map is... I'd say he's probably the best pick. And if two of the best players in the world pick him, then there's probably some truth to that. Normally, I'm a big Jess simp in fog games, but I think even I will admit that this is a Jake map. If you just take a look at all the grass tiles, I mean, there's just grass everywhere. There's very few road tiles. And furthermore, there's plain tiles next to cities. Lots of plain tiles next to cities, which gives you a lot of good avenues to wall break. And again, just you're going to be building a lot of tanks on Chosen. Air units are okay on this map, but considering how open it is, it's definitely a ground battle. And while I do think Jess does well in ground battles, there's just something about the layout of Chosen's Reservoir that makes Jake the best pick here. I would probably pick Jake, even though I love picking Jess in Tier 4 fog games. So both players, we're going to see a Jake mirror match, but Jake mirror matches can be very explosive, because Jake's superpower is so strong. I mean, that block rock is just devastating, right? The 2 move, the extra firepower on planes, it really lets you pack quite a punch. And if you happen to incorporate a few arty into your army composition, maybe even a rocket, probably not, but you know, the extra range can be very nice. So ladies and gentlemen, join me here as we take a look at an absolutely spectacular game. Let's get started. So, Rip, down in his trademark brown desert trunks in the bottom left. against Laska Larnar. Laska Larnar? Laska Larnar? I'm sure. Laska? I don't even know how you pronounce that name. He's in the purple trunks up in the top right. So we're in for a very long capture phase here, ladies and gentlemen, but what I am curious about... Oh, I didn't even show off Rip's amazing player card that I made. Oh my goodness. Look, I made this little thing. This is Rip's player card in case... I keep forgetting to show these off, but here it is. I'm curious to see whether Rip is going to build his trademark transports. He does love opening transports. Interesting though, Rip base, he skips the base to go for the airport, but I think this might just be the standard opener on Chosen. I'm not entirely sure if this is like new or not, but I think the idea is to get a T-Copter out early, because the T-Copter is really strong. So Laska though is opening up a recon, so he's going to go scouting for some early Rip transports, and that's probably a good idea. So, is Rip going to open T-Copter? I mean, why else would he capture the airport, right? And he does. Of course he does. The Rip T-Copter is such an iconic part of his playstyle. Rip loves transports. He uses them to get an early capture advantage, and then later on, he uses them as shields. And of course, Laska also opens up a T-Copter, because on Chosen, this is such a massive map, you really do need to build transports here. Otherwise, it's going to take forever for your infantry to get out. You can also do little boosties right here. I think this is going to result in him getting the city like one turn earlier on this infantry, so it's very nice. But Laska has a recon that's making its way all the way over here. Let's see if he can get some nice pickups with it. He's also, of course, using his T-Copter, which is nice. So Rip now using this T-Copter right here to get his infantry in range so he can get this city on 405. Very well played. Is he going to build a tank? Yes, he is. He builds a tank and a recon. The tank is in the middle, not here, so there's a chance that this recon might get some early harass. But it remains to be seen. Cute little boosty again by the T-Copter. You gotta love it. Tank recon from Laska. They're doing very similar openers. The only difference is Laska has one extra recon. So Rip actually going for the islands early on. These islands, you definitely want to capture them at some point. They're not really contested, but if you forget to capture them, they can remain uncaptured for quite a while, so it probably is a good idea. Rip also getting out an arty. As Jake, you definitely want to get some early game artillery out. I mean, you do get that nice +1 range boost from your powers. You want to take advantage of that. At least having one arty out can be very viable as Jake, and you can see Laska also going for the islands on the side right here. So both players, they're playing pretty similarly in this early going right here. Laska continues with the tank on the top side. And now Rip going for the comm tower, moving his arty out. Laska is being pretty defensive with his recon right here. Didn't actually send it forward. I guess he's probably thinking that Rip has a tank in the area, but Rip is actually butt naked down in the south here. So this recon actually has, and Rip even goes an artillery on the bottom base. So this recon can actually just start feasting right now. But of course, Laska doesn't know that, and the fear of losing a recon, especially when Jake has a comm tower and he attacks with a tank on a plane. I believe that is almost a one-shot. I think as long as you, like... I'm actually kind of curious right now. I think 20% allows you to one-hit a recon on a plane with a comm tower or close to. Yeah, you need a little bit of help from an infantry, but it's still, you know, you will have an infantry nearby. So again, the very long capture phase of Chosen Reservoir continues. Both players just trekking across the map. And here Laska is using his recon to harass a little bit. And there's nothing Rip has here that can really deal with this recon right now. He is butt naked, completely exposed to this recon right here. And this is hurting Rip. I mean, he's not going to be able to get this city most likely. And Laska has gotten his city over at 1102, the mirror city to this one. So again, this recon is paying dividends. And all Rip has at this point is just an arty that's out of position. He builds a tank, of course. Anti-air on day 10. Very smart to do on Chosen. Battlecopters are going to be coming out, and Jake, battlecopters are fairly good. You know, they do get that planes bonus when he pops his powers. So they hit fairly hard. They're not adder battlecopters, but they're a hell of a lot better than just battlecopters. But Laska so far has a very strong opening against Rip. This recon has been doing a lot of damage, preventing captures, damaging infantry, getting scouting intel. Meanwhile, he's moving out on the other side. Since he doesn't see a lot happening over here, I think he just naturally assumes that this is where most of Rip's army is, and he would be correct in that assessment. Rip continues to go for his islands, moves out his arty, and he goes back for the city right now. Because, of course, the thing is, he's bluffing right here. Laska doesn't know that there's not a tank in range. If this was a tank instead of an arty, he would have had it here. So right now, let's see if Laska gets fooled by Rip or not. This is a mind game at this point. Rip goes 2 tanks and recon. Goes for the interrupt right here on 904. So he doesn't want to let Laska pick up that city. So day 11, let's see if Laska takes the bait or if he backs off. Or, sorry, not take the bait. Let's see if he falls for the mind games. Using the 1 HP infantry to scout the forest. Probably just want to see if there's an arty hiding in that woods. Now he knows there's not. He goes in for the attack. And there's 2 pretty big armies on each side here. So we could see a pretty aggressive early game. And Laska does not go for it, man. Rip is successfully placed the mind games. Laska thinks he has a tank here, but he doesn't. I think nerves are probably very high when you're playing one of the best, if not the best Advanced Warfare player in the world. Mind games are very effective at this point, and Rip successfully was able to pull his off. So Rip is about to get his arty into position right here. He's probably going to put it either here or here. He's going to be guarding the rest of his forces, and I don't think Laska has enough quite to break through here. Rip even getting a little bit cheeky on this side, attacking with his infantry, interrupting the cap. So Rip doesn't quite dare place his artillery here or here. He places it in a much safer position. It isn't quite guarding the city. But if Laska overcommits, he's going to run straight into the arty range, and it is planes boosted, so it's got 20% extra firepower. It's going to hit very hard. So let's see what Laska decides to do. He decides to go for it, and thanks to the planes boost, he's able to 2-hit KO that infantry. That's 100% reliable. So right now, Laska doesn't quite know if Rip... So Rip is actually doing something that I don't see him do very often here. He actually splits... He has split his forces perfectly in half. But Laska doesn't know if all of Rip's forces are here or if they're here. So he's playing very carefully right now. He has to be careful so he doesn't get overrun. But in this situation, Rip is actually not strong on either side right now. Rip is kind of dividing his forces, and Laska's going in. He picks up the recon. That's huge. Killing recon, removing your opponent's side is always nice. Very nice positioning for his artillery as well. So, well, I gotta say, Laska looks impressive in this opener right here on day 13. He looks to be in a better position than Rip, in my opinion. Like, he got the early harass off. It's a very strong push here with the arty in the woods. I don't see Rip attacking into this, but let's see what he does. Of course, Rip does get a nice shot with his arty, but I don't think, yeah, no, he's not going to commit. He knows there's a lot of scary forces here. So both players kind of splitting 50-50 almost. That's it, Laska definitely, maybe it's more like a 60-40 split for Laska up here in the north. And Rip is kind of doing the same things. They're playing very evenly. But the name of the game on Chosen is to not overextend. You really... This is Rip's zone. This is Rip's home turf. If Laska dares tread over into that, he's going to have a bad time. So he can't just rush into Rip's territory. He knows better than that. So he's playing it a bit more safe. Nice attack on the 2 HP infantry there, reducing the infantry to 9 HP. He doesn't want to just give Rip free properties. He's being a bit pesky with his units here. Day 14 rolls in. Laska has 25 cities to Rip's 22. So Laska's looking very impressive in this opener right here. Gotta say, I really like the way he's playing against Rip right here. Artillery shot kills the infantry. And right now, Rip is very defensive. He is kind of baiting Laska into attack him. But I'm not sure if Laska will. And now, Rip is actually slightly shifting his forces south. I'm thinking he might be intending to join them up in the center and go for a monster push. Laska has a lot of artillery on the way. 1, 2, 3, 4 artillery on the map so far. Rip has 2. So Laska going pretty arty heavy in the early goings of this matchup right here. And he too is slightly moving to the south, so both players are reading each other really well here. Neither one wants to overcommit. Lander from Laska. I love it. I love it. This lander can be incredibly valuable. 12k is quite the investment, but he can use this lander to transport medium tanks, heavy tanks. You can move them over here and ship them right down there. So it's quite an investment from Laska. Let's see if he can get something out of it. Almost like on cue. It's like Rip senses that something is wrong, and he immediately goes for the attack here. It's 3 battlecopters backing up this force right here. Very scary. Laska does not have anti-air. He does not have anti-air. His anti-air is all the way up here. He needs to get anti-air down here ASAP. 3 Rip battlecopters are threatening to give him a very bad time. Watch out, Rip. Your T-copter's low on fuel. Too bad he didn't pick Jess, am I right? Now, I know we meme on Jess a lot, but she's actually not bad on Chosen. Jake is better, but stealth fighters are a thing on Chosen. And I have seen Jess games before where people have used stealth fighters on Jess, using her power to refuel them. And it can actually be pretty nice. Day 15 rolls in. And, ooh, Laska Lamar, Laska Larnar, you are going to get absolutely obliterated. Oh, this is not good. And he's moving quite aggressively forward on the north side right here. Like he's sensing that this is a weak position from Rip. And this is a weak position from Rip, but the problem is right now, Laska is about to get obliterated by 3 battlecopters, and he doesn't have a single anti-air in range. He can build it and transport it over here with the lander, and he definitely should be doing that, but he doesn't see the battlecopters yet, so he doesn't know that he should. He's bringing 2 battlecopters down, but this battlecopter is going to get murdered. And then this battlecopter won't be able to do that much. Ooh, no, he needs to build... Well, at least he needs to use his lander to bring this anti-air down here. I hope he does. Alright, Rip. Laska Larnar is attacking over here. Let's see what Rip decides to do. This is where he really should be attacking, and that's exactly what he does. In comes the anti-air. And Rip smells blood right now. I think he's sensing that his battlecopters are uncontested. He just took out an enemy battlecopter, so he must be feeling pretty good about himself. But at the same time, he sees that there's a very scary attack coming here. He needs to be careful. He could lose his comm tower. And that's not something you want to do. Also, Block Rock very close for both players right now, so this match is balancing on a hair's head, and Rip is actually not committing to this attack at all. In fact, he's shifting some of his forces north because he's sensing this impending attack right here. So Rip actually just, you know, poking a little bit, and then he's withdrawing. So Rip is playing super defensive this matchup. I think both players really, really want to win this and get that trophy on their profile. So they don't want to get overly risky. But Laska right here, he continues to go for... There's properties hanging right here. He's moving his artillery way behind enemy lines right here. Lots of artillery from Laska. The problem is right now, if Rip decides to shift all of his forces in one direction, then he can just mow over his opponent in the north right here. And again, using this lander to boost his troops. This lander is going to accumulate more and more value as this match goes on. This is just going to boost the reinforcement of his army, making the army appear much faster. Effectively, he'll be able to respond to threats quicker using this lander compared to Rip. So every turn that passes, this lander gets more and more valuable as it transports more and more troops to the front lines. But Rip here, he's being very cautious again. He just does not want to run headfirst into Laska's forces. Builds a bomber. I think that's a good game sense from Rip right here. Bombers are very strong on Chosen. It's such a massive map. You kind of need the speed of the bombers, and Neo-tanks are probably going to show up at some point, so having a few bombers to help deal with them is going to be very nice. And now Laska is being extra cheeky with his black boat. He's building a black boat, and he's now threatening the islands. This is... I'm loving the play from Laska so far. He's playing so good. I love the lander buy, the black boat buy. He's investing a lot into transports, but I think he's sensing that Rip is being very defensive, and so he's like, okay, if you're being very defensive, I'm just going to start taking over your cities and force you to act, right? So if this, I mean, look at his income advantage right now, 28k to Rip's 22. He's got Rip on the ropes right here. He's got Rip on the ropes. He just needs to be careful that he doesn't overextend into a block rock. But I'm actually like, he is ahead quite solidly. The only thing that can be very scary here is this horse from Rip. If Rip smells blood and he goes for a block rock, could be very bad for Laska. So Laska needs to be so careful with his movements. He has several recons scouting out, so you can see Rip's movements. I am loving the play from him right now. He's playing superbly. In comes the T-Copter. Gotta be careful. So, well, he actually has the black boat to resupply the T-Copter. That's amazing. That's probably why he bought it too. Because, like, you don't want to lose the T-Copter. You want to keep getting value out of that thing. So, building the black boat, getting the city, and using the black boat to refuel the T-Copter. I love the synergy. And again, if you're Laska right now, ooh, there's not a lot of stuff here from Rip. And I think Laska senses this right now. So here he's seeing that there's very little here from Rip. So he knows there's a massive army here. So he needs to be super careful here because, again, the block rock is so close. And Laska is in such a good position right now. All he needs to do is defend. Because he's ahead. He's so far ahead of Rip right now. 6 properties. This is incredible. But of course, if he rushes headlong into a block rock, that lead can evaporate very quickly. But so far, he is crushing. He is crushing Rip. And I think Rip is getting a little desperate here. He's sensing, oh my god, I can't let him take these properties away from me. If Laska takes both of these, he's going to be 30 to Rip's 20. And at that point, that's like a 50% advantage. That's crazy. Laska does lose his recon, which is not great. He does have another one, though. I think this is a bit of a feint attack from... What the... Oh! Oh, no! Oh, Rip! Oh, he's sacking he sacked the Battlecopter! Oh! Oh! He gets the block rock! Oh my god, recon comes in, one-shots. Oh, Rip. What a play. What a play! Oh, he sees the weaknesses. Another planes boosted tank. In comes the anti-air, kills the infantry. Oh my god, he is... Oh, 1 artillery goes down. The 2nd artillery goes down to 2 HP. Kills the recon. What a play from Rip. And just like that, Rip is not looking so weak anymore. He sacks the Battlecopter to get the block rock. What an impeccable play from Rip right here. He had to do something. He had to do something. He couldn't just sit back and let Laska accumulate value. But of course, there is a problem with this. Now he's given Laska a superpower. So let's see if Laska can make something happen here. He pops block rock in retaliation. And in comes... could have attacked from here, I guess, to get a boost, but I think he wanted to open up for another tank to hit from the planes instead. And he sees nothing here. There's nothing here for Rip. These properties are basically just his for the taking right now. He's wiping out all of Rip's forces over here. So he's crushing in the south. Laska Larnar is crushing in the south. Now he's target firing the anti-air. Of course, Rip has another one. He takes out one of Rip's Battlecopters. And this is a solid counter-attack from Laska Larnar right here. In comes the Battlecopter, anti-air. And there's the Neo-Tank. Teching up in the situation is probably pretty good. And he's got to be careful so he doesn't lose his T-Copter. Absolutely incredible play from Rip. Laska is still slightly ahead. He's still got 28 to 22 properties. But that is a masterful play from Rip right there. That definitely brought him back into the game. So Rip is crushing in the north right here, but he is getting crushed in the south. So let's see what he does. He has to interrupt this capture. He can't let Laska get any more cities. In comes the anti-air, and Rip is crushing on the side right now. He needs to keep, he join caps this infantry right here. He needs to keep his infantry alive. Because all of these problems, he's even blocking the harbor just in case Laska does something silly like building a battleship here or something. Which is very smart. And he doesn't tip his, he's hiding his bomber so far. It can be easily scouted though. But he's keeping his bomber hidden for the time being. Beautiful artillery placement from Rip right here. Absolutely incredible. We're in day 19. Rip is starting to get some cities back, but he's still quite behind on income. I think Laska needs to just pull back from this area right now. I think he knows that. Yeah, he's pulling back with everything. He's taking some engagements with his battlecopters, which is smart. But he's capturing a lot of Rip's cities right now. Hiding his T-copter, that's cute. But so many of Rip's cities are hanging right now. And now Laska makes his way north because he knows he eventually has to confront this big death ball right here that Rip has. He still doesn't know that Rip has a bomber, but he's using that lander beautifully to transport his units to the front lines. That lander has just been so valuable. 2 tanks out of Laska right now. He's at 29 properties to Rip's 23, but Rip is going to get a bunch of captures this turn. And that's going to be equalized. 1, 2, 3 captures. He equalizes the income now, 26 to 26. But of course, all of these cities right here are hanging. Oh my goodness. What an insane game. What an insane game. I don't think I've ever seen anyone challenge Rip this much. Like, Rip just seems absolutely untouchable in every single one of his games. But Laska Larnar here, he's taking it to the champ. And he's really giving him a fight. Absolutely beautifully played. What a great player. So cool to see him rise from the Egg Cup until this, you know? Like, it's crazy. Alright, day 20. Both players are still equal. Rip's got a slight power lead. So he's gonna get his block rock first. But now, both players know that they have to meet in the center. And Laska's sending his Neotank out here. He doesn't know that Rip has a bomber. And Rip has been hiding this bomber very effectively. So this Neotank is sadly going to be toast. So, not... kind of unfortunate. You kind of just have to gamble sometimes that your opponent doesn't have a bomber. He might expect that Rip has another Neotank maybe, but the bomber sadly is quite the hard counter to the Neotank, so... that Neotank is going to get blasted to smithereens. Laska now adding some recons onto his armies. It's important to constantly keep building recons as they get taken down. If you lose, if you at any point run out of recons, you lose. Because you just won't have the vision to attack. And Rip decides to tip his hand. He attacks, and bye-bye goes the Neotank. Not great. He might even get a block rock. And he pops it. He pops the mid-turn block rock, ladies and gentlemen. And now, Rip is gonna cruise. Oof. In comes the forces, and they're mopping up right now. Oof. What a beautiful play from Rip, right? He just gets his powers at the perfect time. You know, Laska played so well in the opening stages of this match, really taking it to the champ. But Rip is just able to get his powers exactly when they are needed the most. His power management has been on point. Now he builds a Neotank because he knows he's a Neotank ahead. But of course, great attack from Rip. Here comes the counterattack, the block rock. Let's see what Laska Larnar can do here. In comes the vehicles. Recons comes in to see what they can see. Lots of nice planes boosted attacks right here. It's kind of hard around this area, but there's still plenty of plane tiles to work with right here. Doesn't really have a response for the bomber. Yeah, he does actually know. He does have an anti-air right here. And boom goes the bomber. Not a kill, surprisingly, but leaves the bomber at 1 health. And is he gonna add on? No, just recons and tanks for the time being. And Rip now has taken the income lead, 27 to 25. Oh boy. And I think we're starting to see Rip sweep here, guys. Now he has momentum in the south. And Laska, while he has a decent defense in the north, Rip is just mopping up forces right now. But he's also pulling back. You know, he's not overcommitting. He doesn't want to rush headfirst into Laska's defense here. But now Rip is the one that has a big income lead. And it's up to Laska to make something happen right now. He's poking forward with his recons right now. Mostly focusing his efforts in the north. You know, at this point, just use the T-Copter to take the property back. And he's heading slowly forward here. But Ripman is looking so strong right now. They are even in value and unit count. So the advantage Rip has is rather slim. But Laska has nothing left in the south right now. And Rip takes out his T-Copter. And this bomber is still an excellent blocker. It can only be killed by anti-air at this point and other fighters. But it's not quite over yet for Laska. He certainly seems to have lost some of his advantage, but I feel like there's still a couple of really good engagements left to be taken here. And Rip is still ahead in power. Despite him popping his power first, it seems like Rip's power management is just so good here. Black boat is about to run out of fuel. Don't know if it has a harbor. I mean, can it? I don't think it can actually make it back to this harbor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Actually, it can. Although, at this point, I don't think the black boat is what's going to decide this matchup. But Laska is moving forward here. He knows he has to take these properties from Rip. But I look at the concave that Rip has around his forces. This is like a concave of death right here. I do fear that Laska is walking straight into the Lion's Maw right here. I mean, just look, Rip has a perfect surround on him. And Rip now is moving his recons in, taking some pot shots, destroying the recon to cripple Laska's vision. He has another one, of course, but still, every recon you can take down is good. And that bomber is still a very annoying blocker that Rip can use in the upcoming attack. It is running low on fuel, but it still has quite a lot left in the tank. 30 fuel, that will hold it over for a few more turns. And Rip is just slowly baiting his opponent, and he knows that Laska has to advance because Laska needs to take these properties back. Rip is now threatening these properties here at the bottom. In short order, this property is going to fall, and eventually he's going to march on Laska's comm tower. So he knows Laska has to advance right now, and most of his infantry are damaged. Laska's using the recon here to interrupt the cap. Capping with a 5 HP infantry never feels good to do. Ooh, that Neo tank is toast. Yeah, he is walking straight into the Lion's Maw right now. I believe this is the turn where Rip is going to pounce on him. That 6 HP Neo tank is just like, it's like a... You know how, like, when you're watching a pack of gazelles flee the lion and there's like a wounded gazelle in the back, and the lions are just waiting for the gazelle to be separated from the flock? That's this 6 HP Neo tank right here. It is just like, Rip is like, delicious, delicious. Nom 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 nom. And that's exactly what he does. Even using the 1 HP bomber to finalize the wall break. And we are witnessing the Rip March of Doom right here, I think. 29 to 23 properties. Rip has completely turned this game around from a losing position into a winning one. And this death ball, I don't think there's anything Laska can do to break that. Look at this ball of death right here. What do you do against this? There isn't anything you can do about this. And Laska pops a beatdown, a desperation beatdown, in an attempt to just get a little bit of extra firepower to try and stop the encroaching Rip wall. But look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Rip has Block Rock once again. At exactly the time where he needs to have his power, that's exactly when he has his power. T-Copter from Laska, interesting. I mean, they are on day 25, so I guess at this point you do want to start going for captures. Yeah. This is gonna be... It's gonna get pretty ugly, ladies and gentlemen. This is the perfect Block Rock right here. Look at Rip. He's just gonna roll over Laska right now. That 1 HP bomber doing work. And just like that, the entirety of Laska's army is gone. And I do believe we're gonna see a resign, and that's exactly what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, what an absolute performance. Ladies and gentlemen, Rip has his first tournament win. He has his first well-earned trophy, and what a well-earned trophy it was. But my goodness, what a performance from Laska Larnar. For the first, like, 15 or 16 days, he was running circles around Rip, man. He had this guy on the ropes. And then Rip, being cornered and pressured on all sides, just pulls out one of the absolute best moves. Sacking one of his own battlecopters, getting exactly enough power, and just block rocks his opponent. Laska played incredibly well, but Rip's power management is some of the best I have ever seen in my life. Like, every time Rip gained his power, it was useful. Like, every time he needed the block rock, it was there. For Laska, it felt like it wasn't quite there when he needed it, but Rip, just every time that block rock was necessary, it came in at the perfect time. And I think that really just shows how good Rip is at planning ahead and calculating his power charge and getting his powers exactly when he needs them. Beautiful display here by Rip. So far, there doesn't seem to be anyone who can really stand up to him, but Laska Larnar came pretty damn close. Pretty damn close. Really well. We're gonna definitely pay attention to this guy moving forward, seeing how he rises through the league, because I didn't even check Laska's rating at the time of playing this. Only 1352? That's crazy, man. Such a battle against Rip. Really well played. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.